Cloud. Yeah, that's what we did last time. We called for a motion to temporarily suspend.
Okay, all right.
Do I have to say the names first?
Well, first you're gonna call the,
Yeah, but I don't know who they are.
oh, I can tell you, yeah. But first you're gonna call the meeting.
All right. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order of December 10th, Cape Cod Collaborative.
Okay, so it is, thank you very much, I hit record. It is, Mashpee, Eastham, and Upper Cape Cod.
Okay, we need to suspend Mashpee.
Call for a motion to suspend.
Yeah, I would like to call for motion to suspend
Temporarily.
Mashpee, Upper Cape, and Eastham.
So moved.
There's a second?
Second.
Okay. So all those in favor? We have to do a roll call. Oh, that's right. I forget.
I know, yeah.
I run the family when it,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're great.
All right.
No. Hold on.
Oh, it's not even, I'm sorry.
We amend the motion. Motion to temporarily suspend the Upper Cape referral.
Yes.
In order to have.
Okay. So,
And Steve, are you in a second given the motion?
Seconded. Yeah.
Thank you.
all right, so we'll do a roll call vote. Andre?
Yes.
Okay. Steve?
Yes.
Mary Rose?
Yes.
Mary Ann? Yes. Alicia?
Yes.
Right. Brad? Brad?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gina?
And Gina says yes, if you said and Gina.
Yes. Okay. And Roger?
Yes.
Okay, so, first item on the agenda is the OPEB trust meeting. Do we need to vote to go into that meeting?
Can't hear you.
Okay, could someone make a motion?
You can't hear.
We can't hear you. There's something going clop, clop, clop in the background.
Let me see, hold on.
And I think it's from someone on Zoom. If people could mute themselves if they're not speaking.
Yeah, here.
I'm trying to mute people. All right, so, all right. Could you ask for what you were asking for again, please?
Okay, so I need a motion to go into the OPEB trust meeting.
So moved.
A second?
And Gina.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, so, Andre,
No, yeah.
how do you vote? Andre?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Mary Rose?
Yes.
Terry Ann, yes. Alicia?
She's
Yeah.
saying yes.
Brad?
Yes.
And Gina?
Yes.
And Roger?
Yes.
Okay.
So the OPEB trustee meeting is open, so I'm gonna turn it over to our treasurer.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Trill.
Good evening.
Can somebody meanwhile explain what OPEC is?
Hold on one second, Gina. Could you say that again, please?
Could somebody please explain what OPEB means?
Other post-employment benefits, that is primarily health insurance.
Got it,
For our
got it.
retirees.
Got it.
So in the interest of time, I just wanted to thank the board for the opportunity to chair this particular annual meeting of the OPEB Trust Fund Committee. As your treasurer, I'm tasked under the statute to oversee the trust under the direction of the board. Previously, it was determined that the Cape Cod Collaborative Board would act as the entity responsible for policy oversight and management of the fund. Oversight options considered solely myself as the treasurer doing that oversight, or a separate appointed committee to act in that oversight role. For a variety of reasons, it was determined back then that the collaborative board would be best positioned to make the important policy decisions related to OPEB trust funds and comply with the applicable statutory requirements. As example, one such policy decision for the OPEB board would be to enhance benefits to employee spouses. As we have internally discussed this recently and in the past, this change and other OPEB issues, it becomes clear that there are many important policy decisions to review to ensure our continued success in funding OPEB obligations. Our goals for this meeting tonight would be to reaffirm the collaborative board and obtaining your approval to act as the oversight entity for policymaking and funding decisions, and to establish a working committee consisting of representatives and staff. It's recommended that it's a committee of 5 to include the treasurer, human resources, the business manager, and the executive director. The committee will focus on over the next 3 to 4 months and bring back recommendations to the board relative to OPEB policy or investment changes or other modifications, including the consultation with our actuaries to guide us in this recommendation process. Also, an important consideration and vote requested tonight is to determine our annual OPEB contribution. Previously funded at $180,000 a year, recently completed actuary fund analysis shows, as we did last year, a revised funding level of $100,000, which is recommended again this year. At current, our OPEB funding is greater than the projected obligations, which is in a good position to be in, set at about 117% of obligations. Lastly, tonight, we'd be prepared to answer any questions or to follow up and report back to the board on any OPEB issue or concern. We are recommending that the board of directors meet and consider these important issues on an annual basis, but certainly we're open to meet more frequently as the board determines. I'll be happy to handle any questions or request that the board vote accordingly.
Mary Rose?
So if we do continue with the 100,000 and we do include the spouses in the insurance, are we still in a good position?
We would be, however, we're not there yet. There's still more discussion and evaluation to be done.
Right.
And each time you make a change, some of these are not changes that you can necessarily undo.
Right.
So we want to make sure going in that we're doing the right things in the interest of the fund. But we're not asking for that particular decision.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
The subcommittee would look at that particular matter.
Okay.
So does the board have to vote to pick a subcommittee member?
Would want to approve the subcommittee as outlined.
Okay.
The other thing I would add is it may make sense to have an actuary, have our actuary be ex officio on the committee as well to get their input right along in the process. Excuse me?
Potentially.
And the auditor too.
So this would be a subcommittee, not of board members, of the worker bees, as you outlined it. And then we would bring recommendations to the board?
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood. Mary Rose.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to call. Maybe that's not
Yeah.
right. Sorry.
We do the best we can.
Yes, exactly.
I recommend that we continue to have at least one board member on the committee if we can find a volunteer that will do that.
Very good.
So I'm hesitant to, tonight you are asking for the 100,000 vote,
The same as we did last year.
but without knowing what the implication is going to be if we include spouses, if that's still going to be a comfortable amount, that makes me a little hesitant to approve the 100,000 this right now. Do you
But
know
we're
what I'm
doing
saying?
it a year behind.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be for next year's amount.
That is.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's a prospective recommendations that will be
Okay.
coming back to the board.
Okay,
But the
perfect.
100,000 tonight is arrears, not like it's backwards.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
And we do have some discussions to complete as it relates to the timing of funding this. Because it's a bit of a cumbersome process now for the lag, as you indicate,
Yeah.
that we've been using each year. So
Okay.
it's something that we want to look at, and I'm sure that the auditor would be very pleased if we could get more of a cyclical vote from the board in regards to funding.
Okay.
I have another question. Is that okay?
Sure.
If there's someone from the board who wants to volunteer to be on the subcommittee, that would be awesome. If the subcommittee doesn't work, we bring it back to the board. Is that another OPEB trust meeting within a meeting, or is it at a regular board meeting that we would present our recommendations? Do you know?
I would do it as an OPEB
Okay,
board meeting within the board.
within the board, like we do for
Same
this,
process.
but it wouldn't be next year. It
I'm
would
not
be
sure that
whenever we're
that's
done.
statutorily required, but that would make sense. to me.
Okay. Okay. So I guess before the vote, we're looking to see if anyone is interested in, and we could have it on Zoom, participating as a board member in the OPEB subcommittee, to review the benefits that we currently offer. Thanks, Mary Rose.
Rick Rose, good. Thank you.
And I don't think that needs a vote because it's a ad hoc meeting. So now the vote for the OPEB allocation is what's on the table.
Did somebody say yes already?
Mary Rose did.
Okay, because we can't see that. We can't see the whole room. So we just need to know that Mary Rose, and I am willing to alternate with her or whatever works.
Well, that's fantastic.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Especially, you said the magic word Zoom.
Yeah, I did that for you, Anita.
Thank you.
My thought would be then when we're planning this meeting, we will include both of you and you can both come, or one of you, because it won't be a quorum,
Right.
even with two of you. And we'd love to have the representation, right? Mr. Treasurer? I want to make sure I'm
Doesn't
speaking.
make it too cumbersome with.
We're working together through this.
Exactly. This is a first for us, so, okay. And if yeah, keep letting us know if you can't hear us. The camera we usually use broke.
I wanted, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to add that I am not a numbers person. I'm a heart person. And so I would be coming as somebody that bleeds for humanity. Okay.
And approves everything.
Well, but we've got the numbers people here too.
Look, exactly. Well, that's the thing. That's the reason why I thought I could volunteer, because there were lots of numbers people and reality-based people. And I'm just letting you know so that there's no confusion that I would be among the many hearts on the committee.
I'm with you for sure. And what I was saying is if any of you can't hear us, our camera broke, so we used a new camera that's just like stationary and doesn't move, because it broke at like 4:15. So just let us know if you can't hear or see or whatever, and we'll do our best to accommodate. Okay.
Okay, so you're looking for $100,000?
That is correct.
Okay, so
That is, the board would vote to release $100,000 from fund balance to supplement the OPEB trust fund.
So moved.
is there a second?
Second,
Okay, I'll repeat it just because it's a dollar amount. Mary Rose made a motion to approve $100,000.
Yeah. Release of $100,000 to the OPEB trust fund as the annual contribution.
Okay, everyone hear that? Repeat it. Okay, so it'll be a roll call vote. And Andre?
Yes.
Okay, Steve?
yes.
Mary Rose?
Yes.
Sherry Ann, yes. Alicia?
She said yes.
Okay. Brad?
Yes.
And Gina?
Yes.
And Roger?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Now a motion.
Now, Mary Rose, you want to make a motion to close?
Sure, I'll make a motion to close the OPEC meeting.
I
Okay,
second it.
thank you, Angina. Okay, roll call. Andre?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Mary Rose?
Yes.
Sherry Ann, yes. Alicia?
Yes.
Okay. Brad?
Yes.
And Gina?
Yes.
And Roger?
Yes.
Catherine, and Catherine.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Nobody leave though, that's just the OPEB one.
All right. Next item on the agenda would be approval of the minutes of November 12th.
May I interrupt for a second to ask if we can flip the agenda?
Excuse me.
No, it's okay, I told you I'd remind you.
Okey doke. Okay, so
So there was a request if we could move the audit acceptance vote, which reviewing the audit first, the draft of the audit, up in the agenda so that our auditor Renee from CBiz is here and she can share the draft with you all. Is that okay? We have to vote on that?
no, I think the
No.
chair can just move
All right.
anything. So would we start with?
So Renee is on the Zoom call and she'll start talking. We just got a draft. I just got an email to me about 15 minutes ago. So we will get it to you, but she's gonna go over it right now.
Okay, we ready? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. Renee Davis with CBiz. I'm really glad that I got to sit through the OPEB part of the conversation. I'm the numbers person, and Gina, by the way. And no, I think it's great. When we go as we go through, I will sort of highlight some of the issues and things that you were talking about and how that impacts your financial statements. Am I able to share my screen? Hold on.
I will, so you are. If Jen, can you put the owl because I couldn't see the bottom of the screen. Sorry.
All right, give me a
Because
second.
some of us don't have a way, if you sent it to us, to see it and to see
No,
it be in the committee.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, Renee, you're able to do it. I didn't even have to fix it.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do tonight is the request was to do a very brief overview of the audit. I'm happy to go through in any amount of detail that you want about the audit. What I'm going to do is give you sort of a flyby overview. I know you haven't seen these draft reports. We were making some adjustments just today, so they're hot off the press. The most important thing that you're going to be concerned with tonight is cumulative surplus and what you have and what that means and what you need to vote for that. So I'll make sure that we spend enough time that you understand that. Those numbers won't change at all. And then as we go through the draft process, we might have a few technical small edits. If there's anything of significance that changes from this, cumulative surplus won't change. If anything else does change, we would, if it's significant, we'll let you know. If it's fixing some grammatical things, we would just make those edits before we issue and get the reports to the state. Just sort of an overview of how the audit works and what the objectives of our audit are. We start, I'm going to say several months after year end, but beginning of the summer, doing some work looking at your systems, your internal controls, getting reports when we can of your detailed general ledger so that we can do testing of your transactions. The whole goal of everything we're doing, all of I'll say we drive them crazy, right? Nobody loves to be audited. We sort of pick and prod and ask a lot of questions and drill down on things. And the whole goal of that is for us to, one, be able to prepare your financial statements on your behalf. That is not an audit. That's a non-audit service that we do. It's just more efficient, usually, to have the auditors prepare the financial statements for a government. And the goal for me is to be able to give an opinion on your financial statement. So the only part of this audit that we own, that I'm responsible for, is the opinion. But all the work that goes in it, there's a whole lot of stuff and a whole lot of testing that goes in for us to be able to give you a clean opinion on your financial statements. And that really is what you have here tonight. So I'm going to do a quick fly of the financial statements. You'll get a draft of this. I sent it over this afternoon. We will start with, I'm gonna make your head spin, so you can close your eyes for a second. I'm gonna go start sort of in the back at the budget to actual, because once we get to, let's see if I can get there. It's not part of the upfront, but it will lead you right into the upfront, right? We start with looking at your controls and to make sure So your budget to actual is way back on page 52. It's not even part of the real financial statements. It's required supplementary information. But this is what's going to make the most sense to you. This is going to tie into what you're used to seeing for your annual your reports. I looked at the packet, right? You get financial reports that you're reviewing. This is going to look like that. So for June 30th, 2025, your budget, your revenue budget, is that big enough for you to see? I can make it bigger.
Not really, no.
Okay, all right, sorry. Let's,
No, it's okay.
wait, that's that, I can't see that, so hold on. Is that any better?
That's better. Yeah.
Okay. So we have an original budget, a final budget.
Yes.
Most collaboratives don't change the budget after they originally vote the budget. Overall, your budget didn't change. You had $18.6 million voted for revenue, and your actual revenue came in $19 million. So you collected $466,000 more than you budgeted. So part of it's in tuition, part of it's in service revenue, parts in transportation. Departmental revenue was a little bit under what you budgeted, and then investment income has been pretty good for most communities, so you had a little bit of a turn back there. What that means is that 466 goes directly into what you're going to see in a little bit for cumulative surplus, right? You took in more than you needed to balance your budget. On the expenditure side, everything, all the administrative costs get allocated out to the different programs. So you had $18.8 million budgeted for expenditures. You actually spent $18.6 million. This is on a modified cash basis of accounting. So this isn't full accrual. This is really what you spent, what departments were able to spend. And you have very typically here, and this is not something I'm used to seeing in cities and towns, but definitely with the collaboratives, it's a little bit different. Overall, you came in under budget. You turned back $191,000. With that said, there are some of the programs that overspent their budget by a little amount, right? So Waypoint, for example, was $20,000 overspent. This includes allocating the admin costs to them. So you have to kind of take that into account. Some collaboratives take votes during the year to sort of reallocate their budget to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm finding going from collaborative to collaborative, a lot of them don't. At the end of the year, they say, as long as we're coming in okay, as long as we have that $191,000, we're not going to take the time and effort to go allocate things throughout during the year. And Gina, the non-numbers person, is like, yeah, don't bother doing that. It's fine. It's okay. As long as you know that and you're aware of it. It's not that something went drastically wrong. Overall, transportation turned back 173,000, professional development turned back 163,000, and it was a positive result. The other big thing I want to point out here, and this is one of the things that Patrick and I went over this afternoon, and so this was one of the reasons for the last minute changes, is in the past, this is just the general fund. You have other funds on your ledger that have some grants. You have some grant activity, not a ton of grant activity. But there were some balances that were being carried and grant balances that really should have been closed out. So in past years, last year in particular, there were some grants that got money in, and the expenditures happened in the general fund. Really, those expenditures should have been moved over to the grant funds to close them out. It didn't happen. So there were some balances that were being carried that were never going to, you spent the money accordingly. You did all the right things in spending the grant money and running the programs. It was just an accounting thing that didn't happen where the expenditures were in one fund and the revenue was in another fund. We cleaned that up to make sure all that was left in your grant funds is just what we exactly know are grants that are ongoing, and you'll see very small balances. What that did is you'll see there's a transfer in. Now you budgeted a transfer in for 100,000. That was a grant transfer in, but you have $355,000 transferred in. That 355 is not a recurring thing that you're going to see every year. This is the direct effect of closing out and sort of fixing some of those grant balances. But that 255 will impact your cumulative surplus because it's money that's coming in this year. It's not a windfall that will happen in subsequent years. So I just want to be clear on that because it impacts your cumulative surplus a little bit. So overall, your general fund went up by $792,000. Now, I'm going to make your head spin. I'm going to go right to the financial statements. Now, I wanted to show it to you in this light because this is the way you all sort of talk and think and look. And now we're going to look at the real financial statements, and I'll show you how this rolls up to the financial statements. So give me just a sec. When you get your reports, you'll see.
While she's doing that, I did forward the draft to the board just about 5 minutes ago to your
Okay.
email. So if you're home watching and you want to pull it up, you do have all of it as well.
So when you get to the financial statements, for governments, we show really three different bases of accounting. What I just showed you was the budgetary basis of accounting. That's in the back of the report. This is called fund-based accounting. So again, there's no OPEB liability, there's no fixed assets, there's no debt on this. This is like a modified cash basis of accounting where revenue, some of it can be accrued if it's earned, if it's available and it's earned. Expenditures can be accrued if their liability is owed, but there's no long-term assets or long-term liabilities. So this is very close to a cash basis of accounting. And we have your general fund. That's what we just looked at. The numbers are going to look very, very similar. The big difference here is for this basis of accounting, there's about $2 million in revenue and in expenditure. They offset each other for the state pension benefits that the state pays on your behalf. You have no liability, but we have to recognize that they're making a payment for you. So that's the 1,977,000. Everything else is going to look almost the same here as it does back in the budgetary statements. And then we have another column called non-major governmental funds. That's what we were talking about. Collaboratives don't have a lot in non-major governmental funds. You're not allowed to have revolving funds or any of those other things that you'd see in a city and town. What you can have in non-major governmental funds are your grants. And you have a few small programs. I'm going to say there's a dog program. There's like money that was raised for the school dog, which I thought was really cute.
He's here, Renee. If you want to say hello, his name is Calvin. He's listening.
I can't see him. I wish I could. I hear that he's a chocolate lab. I actually have a black lab and a yellow lab. So we get all the colors covered. Anyway, so that's what's accounted for here. So you don't get a lot of grant activity, right? Your grants this year, you had about $2,800 in other revenue, $94,000 in grant money, not a ton. You spent $91,000 worth of grants. Very little activity, but we show it separate because you don't want that grant activity commingled with your general fund. Grants can't go into cumulative surplus. You have to keep them separate. You have to account for them separately. The transfer in and transfer out are all just us making those transfers back and forth to make up for the fact that there were some expenditures in past years that weren't moved between the two funds. And overall, at the end of the day, we only end up with $20,000 left in the grant funds. And we know that is 3 particular programs that are sort of ongoing programs that didn't get closed out. So it neatens that up a little bit. And then your fund balance for the general fund is $6 million. This is the income statement. I'm going to show you what the balance sheet of that looks like. So I'm going to go up 2 pages. Now I'm on page 17 if anyone has the financials now that you have them. And this is your balance sheet, your general fund balance sheet. So what we do as auditors, right, you have cash and cash equivalents. We confirm those amounts with the bank. So we get outside confirmation to make sure those are real numbers. Your investments, $1 million, same thing. We confirm the investments and we do some value testing to make sure the value of the investments is accurate. So there's a lot of focus on that. Cash is king. Cash is very important. We don't want to mess that up. The due from member communities, we don't tend to send confirmations. We do alternative procedures there. That is the amounts that just haven't been collected that get collected after year end. And then you have some payables. So usually it's a warrant. If you have a warrant that got paid subsequent to year end, that's in warrants payable. You have some accrued payroll timing differences at year end, small other liabilities. And then the unearned revenue is money that you collected in advance. So if you collected money before June 30th, but it's for the next fiscal year, you don't get to recognize that yet. So that's recorded as unearned revenue. Within fund balance, You have some assignments. So you have money that you have voted. We're going to start talking OPEB in a second. And then you have unassigned fund balance. Unassigned fund balance, remember that number because when we go look at your cumulative surplus, you're going to see that number again. Unassigned fund balance, for all intents and purposes, is just like your cumulative surplus number. It will get you there. It's going to be too high, and you're going to have to vote to use some of it, but that's the base for it. The assigned fund balance is what you vote to use for subsequent years. So you have a history of doing something that's very unique to Cape Cod Collaborative. You vote money to move to the OPEB trust fund, but you don't move it for 2 years. That's new. That's new to me. It's something that I haven't seen in any of the other collaboratives, right? Under DESI guidelines, you are allowed to have money only in the general fund. You can have grant funds. You can have small amounts. You can have what you need to have, I'm going to say, in the grant funds. You can move money into an OPEB trust, an established OPEB trust. You can move money into an established capital fund, right? Those are really the only things you can do with your money. And then you have a limit on what you can keep in the general fund. Anything over 25% of expenditures, you have to credit back to the member units or put in one of those places. So what's in unassigned fund balance and what's in assigned fund balance is very, very important because it impacts cumulative surplus. So I'm going to just show you one of the footnotes. Sorry, I know I make your head spin with this stuff, but it's important. It's important for you to understand this. See if I can get there. The footnotes are long. Nope, I went too far. There we go. So this is on page 40. This is the footnote giving a little bit more detail of what's in that assigned fund balance up front. So this needs to be updated because that balance, the non-major governmental funds, that page will get updated. That didn't get the change from this afternoon. That number is going to come down quite a bit. But pay attention to the general fund amount here. You have reserved $280,000 at year end that you haven't transferred because you used to have $180,000 that you would vote every year. Your vote would be $180 to transfer to OPEB. You changed it to be $100,000, I believe, probably starting last year. So that 280 that you have reserved is a 180 that's left over and 100,000. That's what that number makes. Nothing more, nothing fancier than that. So when you go to actually move money to the OPEB trust, this goes down. So you'll vote to put money into this reserve, and then you'll vote to move money to the OPEB trust. Normally, most places, the year they make the vote is the year the money gets moved over to the trust fund. So this is sort of a holding pattern that is unique to you. And I'm sure your OPEB committee, your new OPEB committee, will look into that going forward. Here's where we sit right now. I just want you to understand how it's working. That doesn't have this is just what you voted in the past to hold that you haven't transferred yet. You also have reserve for subsequent capital expenditures. Your reserve for capital, that is 2 votes. There's one that's $250,000. I think that's a new vote from this year. And the other one was an older vote from last year. What you should probably do on your ledger, the recommendation would be is to set up a whole separate capital fund to get that out of the general fund. It's fine the way it is, keeping it here and setting it aside, but it might be difficult to account for you putting money in, you spending money out of it. If you want to have a continuing CIP or capital program, it makes sense for you to vote money into another fund, set up the fund for it, and then you can see exactly what that activity is. But for now, this is how you've done it. This is where we're at. And then unassigned, you have unassigned fund balance. What I want to do is now let me see something because I think that's the old number. I don't think that note got updated. Those two are the same, but this unassigned isn't going to be the same. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go back up. So sorry about that. The unassigned, I just told you to remember the number. Now I'm telling you it's the unassigned in that note when it's updated will be 5371. So I will send a new one with that note updated. The link probably just didn't make it because we did it so late. The unassigned now will be the 5371 because it has the transfer in from the grant funds. So this, I'm going to quickly go up. This is modified accrual accounting. We go from modified accrual accounting to the last basis of accounting. Really, the front of your financial statements is full accrual. This full accrual is just like a regular business. So I'll go to your what we call the statement of net position, which is the balance sheet. Same cash, same investment, same receivables. The big change when you get up to full accrual is you have your capital assets, right? So your fixed assets are here. We haven't seen fixed assets yet. They're recorded at historical cost less a straight line depreciation. And then most communities, most schools have an OPEB liability. You have an OPEB asset because you have actually put in more money than your actuary has calculated as your net OPEB liability. So you have an OPEB asset of $451,000 at the end of the year. So you put more in than you owe. And OPEB, any of those long-term liabilities, pension or OPEB, when there's a change from one year to the next, accounting standards require you to have a smoothing where you don't recognize the whole change in one year. So you sort of amortize it over a couple of years. So when you see these numbers, deferred outflows of resources for OPEB, and there's going to be one down here called deferred inflows of resources. Those are just timing differences of when that activity will hit your income statement. So they're not real assets or liabilities, but the accounting standards don't have you hit it all in one year. Then same warrants payable, accrued payroll, all of that is the same. What's different in your liabilities is long-term debt shows up, your lease obligations, long-term debt shows up for the first time, and compensated absences show up. The interesting thing about compensated absences, that's sick and vacation time, that's sick and vacation accruals. We did have a new standard this year that was implemented, GASB 101. So Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement Number 101 had to be implemented this year. What it did, it impacted your compensated absences. The prior GASBs required you to record a liability only if somebody were going to leave, if they would get paid out. It didn't take into account time that would be taken off in the future. It was only if there was a buyout option. Under the new standards, it is if you have you accrue sick and vacation time at the end of the year. If you're allowed to accrue that time for past service and carry it over, if you could get paid out if you leave, or if you can take time off. And there's an assumption, there's an assumption that has to be made by management is that time more likely than not to be taken? So a lot of effort went in this year. Patrick will attest. There was a lot of conversation. There was a lot of calculation coming up to that. It's an estimate, right? We don't know exactly how many days people are going to take off in the future. It's an estimate based on historical trends, based on your policies, and it did have the impact of increasing your liability. So you're still not crazy. Your non-current is $350, your current's $87,000. Last year, I think it was just over $100,000 in total. Last year it was $158. So it went up like $279,000, that liability. I will say some schools that we're going to have unlimited time off for people. Their liabilities are in the millions. You're not that bad. But I wanted to point it out because it is a significant impact to the financial statement you see in front of you. For your balance sheet, I'm just going to say your balance, they break out net position or your equity into three different categories. You have net invested in capital assets. That is your assets less the debt that you've taken out to fund those assets. The restricted for gifts, grants, other gifts and grants. This one is updated, right? So gifts and grants is the small balance. Other purposes, sorry, there's an ambulance going by. There's other purposes, small fund that you have set up, and then OPEB, that OPEB benefits, that's the amount that you've set aside for OPEB, but you haven't transferred to your trust fund. And then unrestricted is sort of everything else. That OPEB number doesn't look right, so I need to verify that. But unrestricted is this is not cumulative surplus. This has all kinds of other things, right? So this has your lease, your compensated absences, other assets and liabilities that are not your cumulative surplus, but this is the full accrual basis of accounting. I will quickly go through this and then I'll go right to cumulative surplus. I swear, this is the income statement, full accrual basis of accounting. And the reason I want to show it to you is because it's a funny look, has a funny look to it. It is an income statement that starts with your expenses rather than your revenue. So full accrual expenses. Then we allocate revenues that have to do with those line items. So you can see Waypoint, how many charges for services, how many grants were allocated to Waypoint and the STAR program. This is the state pension benefits, the revenue and expense show up here. And what it's intended to do is sort of show you if sort of functions are balancing themselves or making enough money, or if they're relying on other revenues to fund them. So you end up with a net of 291. Having a positive here means you're well funded as far as that goes. That 291 comes to the next page. And then the next page, you have some other revenues that are showing general revenue. So investment income is used to help fund those liabilities. But very typically, I'm just floating back up here, your revenues, charges for services, operating grants were enough to cover your expenses. And your ending net position is 7.2 million. So that's your financial statements without going through the rest of the audit report. I'm going to, in the essence of time, I'm going to go right to cumulative surplus because I want to make sure we're clear on that. So I will go down. So we saw that number of 5371, 569, and I'll go to the back of the report. So that can everyone see this? Because this is sort of important. Okay. So the
people in person have a copy of this page.
Okay. Great. This the only page. Like you can just go right to that page. That's all we care about. That number is calculated out here, but that's the number 5371, 569. The calculation has to sort of start with last year's number, show how we get there, show that you're adding to your reserves, taking money out of your reserves, comes down to the cumulative surplus number, like total cumulative surplus. Then you are only allowed to carry over 25% of your expenditures. So it is 25% of general fund expenditures adjusted because we do take out that gross up. You remember we have the big number revenue and expenditure for the state on behalf payments. We take that out of there. You are over, so you're at 28%. You need to get that number down below 25%. So you need to figure out what you need to do, what you want to do with the difference. The allowed limit is 4,780,688 for this year. And this is sort of tentative because it's going to be based on what you vote. You voted to put $100,000 into an OPEB trust fund. What is left, and it's up to you. I'm presuming here, but you can do whatever you want with that. You have 490,882 left. And that can either, you're allowed to put it into an OPEB trust fund. You already determined you didn't need to do any more in that. You can put it in an approved capital reserve. You can use it to give money back to members, to towns, or credit them. So what you do is actually in next year's budget, you credit them so they're not giving you as much. You determine what you want to do with that, and that's the vote you need to take tonight. Did those numbers make sense? Okay. All right, good. I am happy to walk through any more of the report if you want me to.
I'm gonna have you maybe stop sharing.
Okay.
Because Mary Rose, of course, has a question, which we're super excited about.
Sure.
And then other folks can as well.
So I'm just wondering, and probably maybe Patrick can answer this, but you know how our vacation time that people cashed out with and stuff, where Paul had so much vacation time, is that why the amount basically doubled or whatever? No?
No, it's a new rule on how they account for this. And it's really, it was a forecast or an estimate we made, and on the sick time, we estimated that people would be taking about a week a year. The collaborative is very, very different than school systems, where oftentimes you get subs in, that type of thing. So the true impact of this sick and vacation accrual on the collaborative is much, much less than typical school districts because we don't do, there's little or no budgetary impact typically. And the liability is kind of this assumed.
So it's like worst case scenario.
Yeah, yeah.
basically. You're really trying to figure out what could happen
Right.
financially if all of Julia's staff took,
Yeah.
all that sick time. What would that do to us financially? If we also hired subs, which by the way, we don't,
Right.
we'd like to, but we
Yeah.
don't have any. What?
We need psychological.
We need psychological support, yes, that happened. So it's new this year, right, Renee? It's not something in last year's audit that we would have seen.
Right. So last year last year's liability was under the old standards. Last year's liability, you had in total $159,000 last year. And this is how much time people are carrying, and this is what they potentially could get paid for. This year, the standards changed. So this isn't any one person that had a lot of time. This has nothing to do with any one individual. Nothing could have changed related to the number of days available. It's the calculation. It's the accounting standards that changed to say, you're now going to measure it not in what you would really be like if somebody takes a day off, you're still paying them. So it's really accounting for that time. It's more likely than not that somebody would take time, and what you had to do is go back and say, how much time do people take off? On average, if people are carrying over, if they're allowed to carry 5 days over, are they using their 5 days? 5 days times their payroll amount, that's the liability. If people are only taking 2 days, you would only allocate 2 days to it. So it really, one school or one collaborative could be different than others because you have to look at your trends and what people in your collaborative really do.
And of course, I have one more question.
Yeah.
I thought I had understood when you were explaining to us about us making those capital improvements really at Yarmouth, that we can't have a capital improvement account. We can.
Yeah, so Renee, there's a debate among DESE and auditors. Can you share that debate? So you probably heard both answers.
I will share both sides of it. I don't know. I mean, there's a conversation. I think that we and DESE are we're sort of in agreement, but different collaboratives sort of take the language of the law and the guidance differently. So what you think and what you've heard, and I'm going to say this is what I made a recommendation that I think you should have a capital improvement fund. You should have a separate fund. Clearly, you can set money aside for capital improvements, right? We all agree with that. The legislation, the guidance allows you to set money aside for future capital improvements. You have to vote it. It has to be a real plan. It can't be sort of ad hoc. You have to say what you're going to be doing with that money, and you can appropriate money to it. Some collaboratives say, the guidance says all we can have is a collaborative fund. I think the law says collaborative fund. It never says general fund, by the way. It doesn't talk fund accounting. Some collaboratives take that to mean, and DESE has said this to people too, that you can only have one fund on your books. We just showed you that you have more than one fund. You have grant funds, you have an OPEB fund, you already have other funds. So to say that you have to keep it within the general fund and just designate it, that's where that comes from. The legislation says you may have a collaborative fund, you will have a collaborative fund, you will put all revenue in your collaborative fund, that type of language. DESE is in agreement that this is different than that. This is accounting for it. And proper accounting allows you, fund accounting, to establish a fund to account for and keep track of that money that you've set aside. It's just an easier bookkeeping way to say, here's the money that we voted and here's what we spent it on. If not, it's going to be commingled within your general fund, and you are going to be hard pressed to keep track of which expenditures have to do with those capital. But you're going to be keeping spreadsheets on the side to keep track of it. So I will say, we talked to DESE a lot. They are in agreement. They are fine with you setting up a separate fund for your approved capital projects.
Well, it seems like we would need to, when you talk about the numbers that we've invested in the Yarmouth building.
Yes, so what I was saying is that there's no mechanism from DEFI for us to get capital.
Yeah,
funds.
okay.
So how we do it now is through our revenue, through what comes in. How we put it aside, that's what Renee and we're talking about. And I think there's arguments for both sides that through strategic planning, we're gonna probably need to decide as a group what we want to do.
Yeah.
But there's just no money that comes in except from revenue.
Okay.
All right, Steve's little hand.
Yes. Steve, did you have a
Thank you.
question?
A few things. One, do we have any precedent of having to determine what to do to get under a 25% in the past? Has this happened before?
Oh, yeah.
It happens every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Oh, okay.
And-
Because it sounded like from the amount you said from last year, that was not as large a figure, or
It was a little, the reason it was up a little this year is because we closed out some of those grant funds. So
But-
last year, your total that you voted was 259,000.
okay. Is it appropriate in considering the dispensation of this surplus to divide it among more than one item?
That is up to you as a board. I can't weigh in on that.
No, I'm
I
just
can
saying.
tell you what
it's
you have
appropriate
three
to do
options.
that.
You have three
That is an
options.
option to do.
Yep. Oh yeah, you can slice and dice that however you see fit.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay. So, we have to
So, this is a DESI required audit. It's a draft audit. Bill, you had some good language that you suggested in terms of accepting an audit with any corrections.
Yeah, I mean, the board could vote to accept the audit as submitted, subject to administrative and or other typographical changes or edits. If that is needed tonight, that would be
Okay, so
reasonable.
moved.
I was gonna say, thank goodness we're recording that,
Yeah.
Jen. So Mary Rose, okay.
there. Catherine, did you make a second?
Yes.
All right, so will be a roll call vote then? Is there any other discussion before we start it, the roll call? Okay, thanks. Andre? Andre? We'll come back to Andre.
Was it
Steve?
seconded?
Yes, well, Catherine seconded it.
Okay, thank you.
Steve?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Andre said yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Mary Rose?
Yes.
Jerry Ann, yes. Alicia?
Yes.
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
And Gina?
Yes.
And Roger? Okay, thank you.
And then the second potential vote is to transfer money in the
$90,882.
thank you, into the capital project fund. And do we have things that we would like to spend that on? Yes.
But we would bring that to you before we did.
If what you're asking,
Have an established reserve fund.
So there's our payroll fund, our expenses fund, and then there is our OPEB trust, and then there is another fund that we
It's
put,
already established.
but it's not a capital reserve fund as Renee was describing. It's an account,
Okay.
but it's not like OPEB, you can only spend on OPEB.
Yeah.
This is not only that you can spend on capital. We do, because we have so
Yeah.
much that we need to do, but there
So
is
I-
more flexibility with it.
so I move that we establish a separate fund for, what are we talking about?
Capital.
Say it again?
Capital.
For capital spending, yes. So that we can follow it more closely. I make that motion.
Well, we don't have,
Patrick, do you think that's necessary?
So
It may be
I would love to, I want this to happen. but I'm not sure it should happen tonight.
Okay,
I think tonight is because there's parts of our articles of incorporation and strategic plan that we have to make sure is fully aligned to. But yes, and at some
Okay.
point, I'm going to be very encouraging
Yes.
of this happening.
Same.
all right, I withdraw my motion.
Steve still has his hand up.
Yeah. Steve, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm glad we're not deciding on dispensation on this evening when we literally just got these numbers
Right.
in front of us right now. And I think that we should that there is a very good case for moving it where we're suggesting, but I think there's other things that we should know about and consider. I don't think it's a bad thing to use a certain portion of that towards capital and return some to member towns also. In the same way that as a school committee, when we have a surplus, it returns back to the town in general funds. So I think we need other things to consider before moving forward on this.
And I am just concerned that we don't have a fund that's called Capital Reserve Fund, and that's what we're saying in the motions. Is that
No.
right?
We're saying we're moving it into, what is the name of that fund on that?
To an
list?
established fund.
Agency fund.
Agency fund.
Okay, all right, because I didn't hear that until just now.
You're right.
Okay,
It's on the thing I sign and Catherine signs and Bill
Okay.
signs, but I didn't know what it was called either.
Okay.
I just know what it
All
looks like on the sheet. But it also allows for what Steve said, which is to have the conversation then
Yes.
about what we want to do with that
Right.
money. How much of it to capital, and that buys us some time, which I think is what I'm hearing people want.
So is it okay to leave it as it is?
So we would get a motion to move the $490,882 into the agency
Agency
fund,
fund.
if that's what you all want to do.
Yes.
And that way we
and
then,
then you'll come back to us with how
Yes.
to spend. Yes, okay.
I so move that we move it into the agency fund temporarily until we can have a chance to talk about it.
Second,
Okay,
So
so
you-
the second. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to move it into the agency fund. So we'll do a roll call vote. Andre,
Yes.
Steve,
yes.
Mary Rose.
Yes.
Jerry Ann, yes. Alicia? Okay, Chad,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
and Gina,
Yes.
and Roger. Roger?
And that's all to you.
He's made it.
I'm not sure.
Well, you need to raise that with.
What?
Yes. You should go to the vote.
yeah, because you put 100 into OPEB,
Because of the ship.
you put 100 into OPEB and 490. Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's a good question.
25%.
Raise it right to 20.
Okay, all right, good. So any more questions for Renee?
No. Thank you. That was a very thorough report for us.
Thank you. And I will say, I know you just got it. We will send a revised, there were a few edits that we found with that note that didn't update. I'll send a revised draft. If you, as you're reading it, have any questions or need anything else explained, let us know. Because I understand you just got it. We've been working on it. The new standard took quite a while to put through. So if I understand that you may want to take some time to read it, you can put any questions through Patrick. If he has questions, he can let me know and we can drill down on any of the numbers you don't understand.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renee. It was a lot
All
of
right.
work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay.
All right. So should we go back up to the minutes?
Do you want to finish the financial?
Oh,
part?
yeah,
Why don't we finish the financial part?
We want to approve the warrants.
Can we, do we need to vote to do them all together or can we just?
To bundle them?
To bundle them,
Yeah.
yes. So we
I
have to
move
take-
that we bundle warrants 19, 20, 20A, and 21.
Second.
Okay, so Andre,
Yes.
to bundle all the warrants.
He said yes.
Okay. Steve,
Yes.
Mary Rose,
Yes.
Terry Ann, yes, Alicia, Yes.
I'm sorry, what are we voting on?
To bundle the warrant.
Bundling the warrants.
Yes,
Brad,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
and Gina,
Yes.
and Roger.
No.
You say no?
Yeah, did he say no?
He said
Yes, he said no.
But it passed.
Yep.
The bundle them in. Okay, so, is there a motion to accept all these warrants then?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, so the motion is now to accept all these warrants. Andre,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Mary Rose.
Yes.
Terry Ann, yes. Alicia,
yes,
Brad,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
and Gina,
Yes.
and Roger.
No.
Okay. Okay, all righty.
Then there's a request to increase our ASLP application fee by just $10. That's the only ASLP increase that we're going to be asking for this year. And the reason we do it at this time of year is because we're starting to do the dog and pony shows to the district. Steve Kelleher, who goes out and talks to Barnstable, talks to DY, talks to all the districts about what ASLP is. So we all like to have the tuition numbers approved before it goes up there. So it just goes up from $90 to $100, and the tuition will remain at $1,500. The tuition had been approved last year. So just a simple motion to approve a $10 increase in the application fee.
I have a question. Who pays the application fee? Do the districts or do the applicants?
The applicants do, and it gets waived if the family needs it to be waived.
And that's made apparent to the parents.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And we work very closely. We have district liaisons in all the districts who work very closely with the families.
in our program update tonight, I'll talk a little bit about where we are with that this year with that program, but yes, families know.
Yes.
So having heard that families are notified and
Yes.
I would make a motion that we increase it to $100 from 90.
Catherine, I keep looking to you.
I'll second.
Okay, so the motion is to increase the application fee from $90 to $100. Andre,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Mary Rose,
Yes.
Terry Ann, yes, Alicia. Yes,
yes,
okay, Brad,
He said yes.
okay, Catherine,
Yes.
and Gina,
Yes.
and Roger.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I guess.
And the rest is informational
Yeah.
for you all.
Yeah. Okay. Now we'll move up to the minutes.
All right.
Postman chafing at the bit to get up to those.
No, but more just, I like things linearly and I struggle to move things around in my own just like sort of process. So thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes? I'm gonna switch it up and let Catherine go. You second it. Go wild here.
So moved.
And I'll second.
Okay, this is a motion to approve the minutes. So Andre,
Yes.
Steve,
Abstain.
Mary Rose.
Yes.
Terry Ann, yes. Alicia.
there's a question of whether I can vote on this since I wasn't at the meeting.
I
You-
think that the state voted that you didn't have to be at the meeting.
Yeah.
But I am like you, I tend to abstain if I wasn't present, but there was some vote.
Abstain.
Okay,
Okay. So that would bring us to, Brad,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
and Gina,
yes,
and Roger.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next, we will have the executors report, please.
All right, that's me. So,
Before you do that, before
oh, you just muted.
Oh.
Ingina.
I tried to ask a question before, but I was too late. We moved into another vote. I just want to make sure that this amount of money that we just voted on, an increase from $90 to $100, is that for each district that applies? What is that for, the application fee?
So it's for each student who applies to ASLP.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
I'm sorry I missed your hand there, Angina.
All right, let's share slideshow. All right, so I'm going to walk through my report, except I hit the wrong, I have two computers going, so sorry about that. I'm going to start with strategic planning, just to give you an update on where we are. We have completed focus groups, so thank you to the members of the board of directors who came onto that Zoom with Dr. Gould. I appreciate your time, I appreciate your commitment, and we ran one for families that was not well attended. Julia and Joan were there.
Okay.
We had Dr. Gould saw Waypoint staff yesterday and STAR staff this morning, and then she had a focus group with students at Waypoint yesterday too. Yeah. And I talked to her on the phone today, and she is thrilled with the data she's getting. What she has said is, I'm already seeing themes, and that's what we want. We want themes to be triangulated so that when we make decisions as a strategic plan, we're coming from a place of the stakeholders and what's happening and what people want to see. So that's very exciting. Next are the surveys, and meeting with Gary Maestas, who is he's the survey generator for TLA, which is the platform, the company we're working with. But Gary also used to be the superintendent for the Plymouth Public Schools until he retired. So I meet with him on Monday to tailor the surveys to a collaborative, because it's a little bit different. The planning committee is all set. We have about 30 members, 2 board of directors reps. So thank you to Terry and Catherine, right? Yes, okay. And I'm like staring at you like I think it's Catherine. We have really good distribution of roles and of geography. So I'm so excited about that. We even have 2 people from the vineyard coming.
Wow.
I know, I'm thrilled. So that will start. We have 5 dates. Those are all set to go. We are meeting at the Osterville Library for those. And then the plan is to have a draft plan of the final strategic plan to you all for the June meeting. Okay? Any questions on strategic planning? I just want to keep you in the loop as we go, because so much of what we're doing is this year.
Yeah, I have to say that Pam is really, she knows how to use time very wisely. You get a lot, and it was very coherent. I think who else was that?
And Gina was there, Roger was there, Andre was there. There was one more person, but I can't remember now.
Yeah.
I got all. I was only there to say a little bit, and I took off.
Yeah.
So you guys can talk.
Yeah.
For what, the focus?
For the focus group. Oh yeah, you were there. That's right. Okay. See, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so that's strategic planning. The Yarmouth site update. So I wanted to let you know, last time we were here, we talked about the Yarmouth special town meeting was scheduled where they were taking a vote on the MacArthur building to see if they wanted to do $150,000 study, put money towards doing a study of the building. That I went to the town meeting, the special town meeting. It did not pass there, and so it's not moving forward. But at the same time, I worked with the town manager to ask if I could come. Calvin's very itchy right now. To ask if I could come to a select board meeting and present on the on just what the collaborative does, who we are. And so I did. That was December 2nd. I've linked in here, and this will go out to you as well, the YouTube video of the select board meeting. I linked it so it starts where I start, because it's about 3 hours of public comment on a totally different topic before that, that you're welcome to watch. It was very civically engaged, but You don't have to watch the presentation, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about it because I shared sort of what we do, who we are, how we serve the districts, how we save money for the town of Yarmouth and the districts. It went a little differently than I anticipated, so I do not think that the town using the MacArthur building in some capacity is dead in the water. I think there are certain members of the select board who definitely are strongly feeling like there's a lot of buildings in town and they want to make sure they're being used well. I tried to demonstrate that the MacArthur building is being used extremely well, and they were lovely. It was not like in light or anything like that. But one of the things one of the select board members said is that the lease, which I shared with you today through email, along with our current capital expenditures to date, that lease ends August 31st of 2031. And he indicated that they were going to be looking for some money after that. And so it is a conversation that the board needs to have through strategic planning and beyond. Do we want to start to plan out purchasing that building or some building, or I think there's some big picture things we really need to talk through. Currently, the collaborative doesn't own any property or any buildings, but other collaboratives do. Reed's just opened a new building and they're about to open another one. So North River has a building. I'm not saying we do that or we don't, but given how much we've put into it and the sort of tenuous nature of renting basically, or you're at the will of and again, they want to support us. That was very positive. I do think this board needs to spend some time thinking about long-range capital planning. And I know the strategic planning committee will do that as well. So those are the next steps. So I wanted to just share that with you and ask if there are any questions on that piece.
I only had one as a parallel track for a legal strategy. Once this lease expires, are the terms of the lease such that you will be able to claw back any of the investment in that building?
Right. Now we have right of first refusal for purchase for 30 days or something like that. There was nothing that I saw in the lease from 2020 that said we would get that 5 million back, which is challenging from a perspective.
Maybe something town council could take a look at.
Anything like that, yes. Yeah, Sarah, and Sarah wrote this with the town of Yarmouth, their council, I think back in 2020 when this happened. But yeah, it's a lot of money that we put in. And Dr. Smith is here he's the DY superintendent, in case you don't know.
So just a little inside baseball as well, being that that's one of our 2 member towns. We have one of our elementary schools is in the MSBA pipeline, and our feasibility study for that just got approved at the same town meeting. But we've now been called back to the select board to talk through, in my understanding, if they want to talk about more expansive sort of discussions around what the feasibility study, even though MSB has been really clear about what our feasibility study is supposed to be. So it'll be an interesting conversation, but I'm sure it's going to now be, we could study whether they're going to try to backdoor in the MacArthur. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to backdoor in the MacArthur building and other things, like losing the kids into the high school or something silly.
During this conversation, and one of the things that, and again, I understand that the select board has a job to do, and I appreciate that. And but what they said was, we have all these buildings we're not using, and we're being asked to do a new building, and why can't we repurpose? And I don't know. I have to say too, and I think the select board meeting in November was before the last board meeting we had, where Dr. Smith and Dr. Ahern from Barnstable read into the record the public comment, the letter from the Cape and Island superintendents encouraging Yarmouth to continue to have Waypoint there. So I do want to publicly thank Dr. Smith and my other colleagues for their support. I don't know where it's going to go. I think from the collaborative's perspective, we know what our charge is, which is to serve the member districts in a cost-effective way and provide programs and services that they can't do on their own. And how does this fit into that? That's up for on us to really wrestle with. So we'll see. Any other? Okay. There's going to be another site update in a minute. I should have done this in order, but I didn't because I start the agenda and then as I remember things, I add it. So it doesn't always flow perfectly. So I apologize. Cape Cod Recovery High School. So we had a meeting here right before Thanksgiving with North River Collaborative. North River Collaborative has a recovery high school. There were 4 recovery high schools in Massachusetts. Now there are 3. Recovery high schools are public schools that are sober schools for students who struggle with substance use. And they are programs that kids get the diplomas from their high school, but it's for students who, if they, go into treatment or are looking to stop using, and then they go back to their high school where all their friends were that they were using with. It's been found repeat. What's the yes? That rate that rate increases. So North River Collaborative, back when I worked there, actually, we wrote the grant to start the recovery high school in Brockton. It's Independence Academy. And I ended up staying on the board even when I became a special ed director in West Bridgewater for many years of that school. It is a phenomenal program. Last year, the executive director of North River called maybe 2 weeks into, I think I was already at Waypoint, so it was probably 3 weeks into my time here. And he said, "Oh, they're putting out another RFP for a recovery high school. We really think the Cape needs one. Do you guys want to write for it?" And at that point, I was like, "Oh, Paul, different Paul Zovalos. No, I mean, yes, we need one. I'll do anything we can to help, but I'm dying here." And he was like, "Do you care if we write for it?" Because they have Ryan Morgan is their program director for Recovery High School, the Independence Academy. And I was like, "No, whatever you need." So they wrote it, they got the planning grant, which is super exciting. So we've hosted the first advisory board meeting here. I will sit on that advisory board. So we're working with North River on this. They're looking for a site to be able to, they want to open a school down here in September. So I know it's pretty exciting. They're the lead.
Yeah.
All we're doing is really, I said, Pat knows everybody in Barnstable, so maybe they're looking for a site and they need, there's certain things that they need it to include. But I also realized the board didn't know anything about this, so I wanted to share with you that this was happening. Yeah. It's right now they have to go up to Brockton if they want to go, and there's no transportation included, so it's really a challenge. So, but what they're struggling a lot with is a space. So if you have a space you could think of that you want us to have them look at, please let me know. So that's Recovery High School. Next, the Dennisport site. Did you guys know we have a Dennisport site? See? So I have to say, when I came on my visit, after I was hired, but before I started, I spent 2 days with Paul Hilton. The first day, he drove me all around to all the sites, and we did go to the Dennisport site. I was like, "What is this?" It's our mechanic. It's the garage bays for our fixing the buses.
Oh.
And right now we rent this space. We have 2 bays that we use. It is on Candlewood Lane in Dennisport, and there's other industrial kind of stuff there. Yesterday, our lease that we currently have expires August of 26. We do need to go out to bid for the next round of this. We would like to stay where we are, and we met with our landlord yesterday, and she would like us to stay as well. And we are looking to potentially expand and take another space that she has that has 2 more bays, 2.5 really more bays, and more parking for the buses. So that was another piece that I thought the board should probably know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Pat, if you want to add anything to that.
There are some site issues that are problematic. Whether in any potential extension of this lease, I think the landlord would like us to take on sort of any improvements as a part of that, as an option.
But those improvements would be taken off what we pay in rent. Because fool me once.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't my lease.
Yeah.
So I think that the family who owns this is sort of got their own stuff going on. It's overwhelming a little bit to do the maintenance that needs to happen. We are okay to do that, and we would come to a negotiation around what that would cost. And then down the line, we potentially may talk to them about purchasing as well. So again, these are all big picture things but the fact that we have 2 bays, we need a few more technicians than we even have now, but it saves us so much money rather than putting the buses out to a mechanic or up to Anderson or wherever. These guys do all the maintenance. They do. So Richie, Dave, and Nathan is the shop foreman. They do all of the maintenance. They do inspections. They do so much, and they keep us going in a really remarkable way. They keep buses going for a very long time. So that's the Dennisport site. And then, oops, wrong button. Now we're going to program updates. So I'm going to start with ASLP just because we talked about it already. So Steve Kelleher is our coordinator for that program. He runs a meeting in November every year with the school counselors of the region. And that just happened right before the holiday, right before Thanksgiving. And the room is packed. I mean, it's a full boat of school counselors. And he goes over what the program is, what the criteria are, and then he sets up the road show, as he calls it. And he actually had Barnstables 2 nights ago. His son is getting married next week, and he's doing a road show next week too. I'm like, Steve, you could probably take a week off. So we are anticipating having 225 students. We started last year with 219, which was our biggest group, ended the 2 weeks with 215. He wants to get us to 225 and thinks we can. But the cost for the tuition will not change from last year, just that application fee. And truthfully, it's like an accounting thing more than anything else. It just makes it an even round number. Yes, I think it's not like we're making a ton of money. We don't make money. Everything goes into the program. So that's where we are for ASLP. I will turn it over to Dr. Woodward now to talk about Waypoint Academy.
Certainly. Quarter 1 has ended, and if you can believe it, as we roll into right before our winter break, we will be halfway through quarter 2. So the year is moving along. We had 2 great field trips. Well, one we had, one upcoming for the Waypoint students on November 24th. Many of the students went to the Plymouth Pawtuck Museum there in Plymouth, formerly known as the Plymouth Plantation. So it was a very informative. The students, we got great pictures of the students. They were extremely engaged and curious about everything that they learned. It's a very hands-on learning opportunity there. So that was a very successful field trip for them. Many of the students will be heading on December 22nd, we'll be heading off to the JFK Museum, the Hyannis location museum. So that's also very exciting. Both of the field trips are very much aligned to what they're learning in their social studies work. We had a very successful Thanksgiving family luncheon the Tuesday before the Thanksgiving break. The turnout was fantastic. The decorations were wonderful. Chef Jerry and our new kitchen manager Kelly did an amazing job. We had so many family members that came, and it was a heartwarming event, and it was very successful. Let's see, we're continuing to receive referrals. We're actually getting quite a few referrals. We just had a new student join us approximately 2 weeks ago. And we have 2 more look to be pending referrals of new students. That one has an extended evaluation and one more at a long-term placement. And as Dr. said, Dr. Gould was at the program yesterday and did the focus group with the students from 1:30 to 2:30, and then the staff from 2:30 to 3:30. And interestingly enough, there was what you were saying. There was kind of an alignment between what was being said. The students, while we're perhaps more limited in their feedback and contribution. Those that did speak really spoke very saliently about what they'd like to see improved or what they thought was needed. And then the staff were very much committed to what they did. So it was, from my lens, was two very successful sessions with very powerful feedback for the strategic plan. And then we have our first aid and CPR training for the staff on Friday the 12th.
Zachary.
Zachary, yes.
Can I just ask, does everybody get CPS certified?
Yes.
That's awesome.
At both programs and transportation. Yeah.
And then my other question is, how are we doing with applications for a
Oh,
program?
stay tuned.
Oh,
Hang on.
okay. Thank you.
It's like we queued it up.
Okay.
Actually, I'll just say, we have a candidate that Dr. Woodward and Miss Bryant interviewed several candidates. They recommended a finalist to me. Mr. Murphy and I met with that finalist last week. We are moving forward with a contract for this finalist, but it hasn't gotten to them yet, so I'm not going to share the name. We are thrilled and excited.
And do you think they're going to go for the contract?
Oh, I know they
okay.
are,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Because we talked about the contract, but Troy was out, so I couldn't. And the goal is for this person's start date to be February 2nd, which is a Monday. My plan is for that person to come to the January board meeting to meet all of you, and they will be at the January strategic planning session, even though they won't have started yet. I can't wait to introduce them to you. I'm very excited. So,
thank you.
yeah, that's so true. Yes. I think probably for Dr. Woodward more than anybody, but all right, why don't we go over to Star?
Yeah, I don't have as much to report out. We had a great Thanksgiving luncheon too. Lots of families showed up. We're always anxious as we head into it because we have some productions that happen too, and we never quite know what's going to happen while the kids are on stage. But it always turns out so great. So the kids did really well. We almost had a mashed potato crisis. So one of our burners wasn't working, and again, the team here, they always pitch in for whatever needs to happen.
I pick up the phone and I don't even remember who might have been Julia. And I was like, hey, and she was like, mashed potato crisis. Can I send somebody to BJ's to buy all the mashed potatoes? And I was like, yes.
So I had an OT and a PT who hopped in a car, went to BJ's. Well, I talked our chef down. Worst case scenario, we won't have mashed potatoes, but it won't be the end of the world. But yeah,
the families come to both of these events, and that for me is the most special part. Is the kids are so proud to sit with their parents and their families and show them their school. And I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, and I try to give a little speech every time without like choking up, but I usually do, just about how grateful we are for all of our kids and families in the West Shore right now. So that went really well. We have 5 referrals on my desk at the moment, which is great. You can never predict. Last year, before October, I had 14.
Yeah.
This year I've had like 7 total.
But we're full pretty much.
Right.
Star.
But still,
So.
like, it's just, you never know what's going to come in. And Sam Holmstock, who has done drumming for our students in the past, is back doing drumming for I think 2 or 3 months, and then we'll probably figure out how to renew that. So it's always fun to kind of walk through with the kids. I'm like, we're giving that kid drumsticks? It always is, wow, the kids love it. So that's all we have from Star.
Calvin's working hard.
Yep, Calvin has almost a full schedule now.
So
He's a little tired.
Mary Rose had her hand up.
Once again, back to the first aid and CPR training. Is everybody trained, or just the teachers, or
The whole staff,
Everybody.
the whole staff is? And who does that for you, and cost effective? Like, how much does it cost?
Yeah, it's changed through the years, but now it's 4 or 5 gentlemen who are I think it's a mix of paramedics. One of them worked in the Army as a paramedic, a nurse.
Is it the same people that Lisa uses too?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, it's different.
I think.
It used to be a woman who came and did.
They used to do
but now it's guys.
Janet Fletcher.
Yeah.
And she uses easy CPR.
Okay.
Is that
I
who
think
you're?
it is. Yeah, I think that's who we're using too,
Yeah.
because I set it
Yeah.
up. But yeah, everybody does it and the cost is minimal. I mean, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's built into our PD budget.
Yeah.
But it's not outrageous.
Having been a school nurse, that it was always very frustrating to me that I was really the only one
Oh,
in
really?
the whole school that was CPS certified. And none of the teachers wanted to be CPS certified, and the cost was always thrown in my face. And Mashpee Fire Department was not willing to do it free of
Were you
cost.
at Mashpee as a nurse?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
For
that.
7 years.
Because when I worked in Mashpee, I got certified every 2 years by
Okay.
Stacy.
Yeah, but Stacy, so she was a CPS
Yes,
certified
yes.
instructor.
But it was like you didn't miss the
Yeah.
Did
thing.
everybody get certified?
Everybody, yes,
Yes.
Jen is reminding me.
Because I know that parents just automatically assume
Right.
that all of the teachers are CPS certified, but that is not
No.
the case in most school systems. So
Yeah,
I'm
we do it
very
every
happy
year,
to-
first aid every other.
And and honestly, I don't know if at Cape Cod Tech, if they are or not, but I'm gonna bring this back to them to.
If they need a contact,
Yeah,
we can get
Yeah, these guys are great.
Zachary.
Yeah.
It's been super
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
So,
Sense of humor, like, they
Yeah.
do a nice job.
Yeah.
Very, very important. Thank you so much.
No, that's great. All right, well, Anders is not in my grandmother's kid kit. Like, he is on Nantucket because he will be driving tomorrow. We're gonna all put our thoughts together that there's no wind after he drives in the morning so that he can get back home. But Anders, we'll turn it over to you.
Excellent, thank you. So we are rolling right along in transportation right up through the holidays.
Rolling right along.
Rolling right along,
Funny.
as we always do. Staffing's been relatively stable. We are, mostly staffed. We've got a couple of areas that where we've got some open routes. Bourne, much like last month, we have one route open in Bourne, but we had an extra person there who was covering absences, so he's jumped right into that. We do have one newborn driver in training, so we're hoping that he'll plug in sometime. He's probably about 10 hours away from being done, and then it's just a matter of him doing his road test and getting his license, and then we'll have him on the road, which will be great. Mashpee is fully staffed. Have been fully staffed all year so far. We're gonna knock on wood here. Monomoy, we do still have an open route there. It's being covered by the office staff right now. I'm sure you remember that we had someone who was fully licensed back in September. He's having some challenges getting started due to his retirement. How many hours he can work, that sort of thing. He has started this week. So he won't be full-time, but he'll do 3 days a week, and that will be a huge help for us right now. So we're excited about that as well. We do have a driver, though, who's been in and out with some medical problems, and we're having to cover that as well. So the timing is good. We're wishing her well in her endeavors to get through this. We still have the one open route in Nauset at this time. We do have a driver who's out on short-term leave, but she's back next week, so that'll help. And as we talked about last month, Brianna Roderick has started as the supervisor down in Nauset. She's done a fantastic job. She's bringing all the systems that we've had in Osterville up to Nauset, and she's put things in place. So we're all on the same page. The communication's much better. So far, it's been a great transition for her. She's doing a wonderful job up there, and we're happy to have her. Now she's getting out and learning some of the routes out there so that she can help out with some of the open routes and the absenteeism, that usually comes around this time of the year. Truro, again, very stable there. It's fully staffed at this time. Nantucket, we have everything covered, but it's we need more drivers. Somebody had a medical appointment tomorrow, so we gotta bring somebody over here. For the most part, we have to come the night before and spend the night because the routes are too early in the morning. You might get here with a flight, but they're often delayed. So it's a big deal when somebody's out here. We could use probably 2 more drivers. And as per probably the last year, we have a lot of people who ask. We have a lot of people who say they're going to do it. And then it just doesn't happen. They decide after a certain amount of time, they start studying for the test, and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. So we're still working at it. We've got lots of people who call, as I said. We just need to nail down some of these folks. On the good news front in Nantucket, we do have a 7D driver who's we're literally just waiting for the approval from the registry so that he can take his test and get started. It's a very simple test that you take at the registry, but you just need to have the hours, which is all done. We're hoping in the next couple of weeks that we'll have him on board. If he were here, I wouldn't be. So I'm really looking forward to him starting. And we have another person who's in process as well, who I'm meeting with tomorrow while I'm here to kind of go through the steps and what needs to be done. So we're hoping by early next year, we'll have a couple of 7D drivers here, which will take some of the pressure off in any case. Small bus and van, all the routes are covered at this point. We do have a driver here as well who's been in and out with a family leave, but we have spares covering, so that hasn't been too challenging. Overall, it's the same thing we talked about last month. A lot of our trip drivers are helping out right now because the trips have been pretty light. Now winter sports are starting, the trips are picking up. They won't be as available, which means that the staff in the offices will probably be driving a little bit more again, starting probably next week. But again, it's been great having them. We have not been driving a lot for the last month since they became available. So we've been able to get a lot of work done, which has been great. As far as training is concerned, we do have the 1 born driver in training. That's it, which is a little disappointing. Again, we have a lot of people applying, but not a lot of people moving forward. Heather Warner, our lead trainer, who's now our new dispatcher, is the one who makes all the phone calls. She's talking to people. She and Lisa Stobart are working with people to try to get them in the door. And, they make the calls every 2 or 3 days to people, just trying to keep them engaged. We're doing, what we can at this point, but it's a little slow. So I think that's it for me. Any questions?
Thank you.
That's it for program updates. So next, the
Staffing update, yeah.
You have that in your packet.
We don't need to work on that.
You do.
We do?
Yeah.
Because
It's just to accept it as presented. So you have the changes, the additions and reductions. No changes this month.
Can you just explain what happened with the occupational therapist?
It was a sad day. We were super excited to have an OT apply with a lot of experience at another collaborative. We interviewed her, Julia did, and I did, and she was great. And then she lives far away, and so she started, and within a couple of days was like, this just isn't working, and so that's why. So we need an OT desperately. We have our one OT we have is going out on maternity leave Friday. So this person was not even. We need 2. So if you know of an OT, please send them our way. In some dire straits right now.
And then can I just ask another question about we have the one who works with the visually impaired now?
Yes, Chrissy.
And so how many students does she cover?
She more than she can.
I don't have the exact number. I can certainly get that and send it out. But I can tell you that as we suspected, if you build it, they will come. We're getting requests for some services from districts far away, not even not even just on the Cape or in the South Shore or Southeast, South Coast.
I don't know. So over the bridge.
Yes. So she's servicing the students that have vision services here in our STAR program. as well as multiple districts.
And one of the calculated risks we took in bringing her on are we going to get enough requests for her services to cover the cost of bringing her on? We've exceeded it. Yeah.
Well, and I know that there's one girl in the Mashpee school system, and now her world has been uplifted with a change.
Uplifted good?
No,
Oh.
no.
I don't think we're working with Mashpee. I don't think Mashpee reached. I think they used someone else.
And she had been serviced with the same para for a year and a half, and now that para just got a position. And so now she's got, I don't know if she has just one para now, but she's devastated. And I heard in the air about referring her maybe to Perkins, and I just realized that we have the one here, and I want to make sure that Mashpee knows that we have that.
Certainly, their special ed director comes to the monthly meetings, but you can also encourage anyone to reach out to us.
Because TVI services, low vision services, are what are considered low incident population service. It depends on the individual needs of a student. And sometimes there can be some direct service and a lot of consult support to staff. And oftentimes that can be done virtually as well. So depending on the actual need of the student, there may be opportunities that Chrissy can do that. If it's a direct service in which there's more travel time, that may be, but certainly Amy Benner, the new director of special education in Mashpee, sits on the advisory council. So, but please feel free. We can always better to take a referral and say we're not able to provide at this time. And then if something opens up, then we can reach back out to a district. Then not at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
So we need to make a motion to accept the personnel change in I'll move that.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, good. All right, so the motion is to approve the personnel changes. So we'll take a vote. Andre? Oh, Andre? Come back to him. Steve?
Yes.
Mary Rose? Yes. Carrie Ann, yes. Alicia?
She's not here.
Oh, she left. Okay. Brad?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
And Gina?
Yes.
And Roger? Okay, one last call to Andre? No, okay. That's enough to pass though, right? Roger?
Yes. Do we have enough for a quorum though?
Excuse me, just say that again.
Well, you just need the quorum to open the meeting, don't you?
No, I think we found out I was wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, you have it. Because you here comes Alicia too.
Alicia's back.
Because you suspended
The other.
Right.
and Catherine wasn't here when we originally, but she is now, so she made up the difference.
Okay.
And Alicia's back.
Alicia's back.
Okay.
All right. So
Do we
that's
have new business?
Okay.
So I think we're So along with December's a busy meeting, so thanks for your patience. Along with the audit that has to get approved at our December meeting, our annual report also does. That is a DESI requirement. This year, we took the annual report from last year, but I worked with Paula, Joe, and Ruth at DESI around it because there were some glitches last year, I think, that they wanted us to address. So the biggest thing that we did this year, and I'm not going to go through the annual report, you have it, you can read it, but is they wanted us to comment on our progress towards the objectives that are outlined in our articles of agreement. And so the way we framed this year is we took our objectives and we had our programs, and that handled objective 1 and so forth. So just an FYI. Okay. This one we need to vote for, so I'll be fast. So I want to thank the team because they put their pieces into this annual report. I believe we have met the requirements of what DESI asks for, and I'm looking forward to submitting it. So are there any questions on the annual report?
Oh, I thought it was very inclusive.
Good. Thank you to Jen Smith for putting it together.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
She hates when I do that. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we do need a vote, and then the chair needs to, if it passes, needs to sign, and I just printed it for you to do.
All right, so
I move that we accept the annual report as written.
okay, so the vote is to accept the annual report as written. So Andre,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Mary Rose,
Yes.
Terry Ann, yes, Alicia. Is she still?
She's here.
She's here.
Yeah, she said yes.
Okay, thank you. Brad,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
and Gina,
Yes.
and Roger.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. And so that was the new business.
Okay, and I guess the last item to say is that the next meeting will be on January 14th at 5 p.m. as per usual. Okay,
I make a motion that we adjourn.
okay. Catherine?
I second the motion.
Thanks, Nina. And then they have to vote.
Yes, we got. No. All in favor.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Holidays, everybody.
Bye.